Text.
Welcome to the Community Difference, North Texas, powered by the Business Development Alliance. A platform built on one idea. The strength of a community is measured by how well its business owners, civic leaders, and residents work together, not how separately they operate. Hosted by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus, and co-hosted by Lendon Wilson, founder of the Business Development Alliance and author of The Entrepreneurial Difference and The Behavioral Difference. The Business Development Alliance is North Texas' most advanced professional network, built for serious small to mid-sized business owners who want daily high-value connections that produce high-value results, real opportunities, and a community of accountable businesses that grow together. BDA was founded to end the isolation of the small to mid-sized business owner, the backbone of every local economy, yet too often the last voice heard, the last to be supported, and the first to absorb the cost of decisions made without them. BDA exists to change that. Its mission is to build a more connected North Texas where business owners are seen, heard, and remembered on the strength of who they actually are. Where civic leaders have real relationships with the businesses driving their local economy. Today, that mission brings us to Frisco, one of the fastest growing and most watched cities in North Texas, in the middle of a high-stakes mayoral runoff. Today's conversation is designed to help residents, business owners, and community stakeholders hear directly from the candidates seeking to lead it. This conversation is not an endorsement by the Business Development Alliance or the Community Difference. The views expressed belong to the candidates. This recording and its content may not be copied, edited, distributed, or used without written permission from the Business Development Alliance. This is not political theater. This is the Community Difference. And now here is your host Brian Poduska.
Well, good afternoon, North Texas, and welcome to the Community Difference North Texas. We are a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. If you've seen our show before, you know how it works. We basically put the spotlight on 5 different key members of our community. That is business owners, entrepreneurs, political leaders. Hint, hint, we've got that coming up today. ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and sports leadership, since we are in Sports City, USA here in Frisco. As you heard, I am your host. My name is Brian Poduska. I am the owner of Real Property Management Focus, where we focus on your real estate investments right here in Frisco and all over the DFW area. My office is in Frisco. I've been a Frisco resident for the last 14 years and have gotten more and more involved in the community over those years and as we've done this podcast. Also, if you've seen the show before, we have a rotating business feature of the month, we call it. So over the past year, we've spotlighted local chambers of commerce, economic development corporations. We've explored how small businesses can expand with financing options. We've engaged with Collin County first responders. We've dug in with school district leaders from multiple different local ISDs. And most recently, we've spent several months with mayors and council members discussing servant leadership across this election season. Back in March, you saw it on the graphic in the lead-in here, we held an in-person Frisco Mayoral Forum at the NAC Theater right in the Rail District here in Frisco. And all of this is with the end goal of engagement with the small business community right here in North Texas. I like to say we've got 3 key words that every podcast and every live event we do. Those are inform, educate, and engage. Engage, engage, engage. So today we have a unique show in store for you. If you live in Frisco, you likely already know this, but we have a mayoral runoff election coming up in June. Current Frisco Mayor Jeff Cheney has termed out, and our general election in May resulted in a runoff between the top 2 vote getters, Mr. Mark Hill and Mr. Rod Vilhauer. We reached out to both candidates, and they graciously agreed to join us amidst their extremely busy campaign schedules. So for that, we are extremely grateful. Today, we'll bring them on the screen, and they'll join us to showcase their platforms and address some burning questions from the Frisco community. Before we bring them on the screen, though, let me first introduce the creator and founder of The Difference Media, LLC, and my partner in this podcast journey in the Business Development Alliance, Mr. Lendon Wilson.
What's going on, Brian?
Not much. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to get over this stinking allergy I've had now for 2 weeks, but other than that, I'm excited about today. It's politics it's that season, right?
Very much so. So we've been in it for the last several months. We had the mayoral candidate forum back in March over at the NAC Theater. Both Mark and Rod were participants on that panel discussion. Loved it. So we've been engaged in this race for a while. Now we're in the runoff. I want to remind folks, and we talked about this at the forum as well, the in-person forum at NAC, but we just came out of the Texas primary runoff yesterday, right? So that happened yesterday. We've got the local election runoff coming up here in June. The most, in my opinion, right? This is just my opinion that I'm sharing, but everybody wakes up every day, and maybe not every day, but they wake up and hopefully they take a shower every day. But that water that comes to you through your pipes in your house and the streets that you drive on every single day, and all your daily activities are done in your local community. And you have the most power in your local vote to influence the future of your local community. So that's why I say, in my opinion, these local elections are even more important than, the state elections or the national elections. Obviously, they're all very important, but I like to say, hey, if you take a shower in the morning, vote in your election, right?
Well, and one of the things that I've talked about too, and why I created the Business Development Alliance and the advocacy program that goes along with that, is when you look at the voter turnout on the local elections, it sometimes is, it's good. Sometimes it's even less than that. I think Allen's mayoral race recently was 5.9% turnout. And so from a small business perspective, what we are doing, if we're not voting, if we're not involved in that process, is we are basically allowing someone else to hire someone that's going to represent us in how they establish that small business climate that we're going to have to work under. And we all know that things are tough, and we complain about our taxes and we complain about these things, but yet we don't go vote. And so I've studied it, I get into the data and things like that. I've studied it, and a lot of people are just not showing up because the whole process is just so sometimes distasteful. So what I want to do, and this is, I hope everybody understands that today, and I hope we can produce this for them, is we're trying to create an environment that focuses on the solutions and unites people around collaboration to solve those solutions. As we talk about in the BDA, we have the trilogy. We have the business owner, the civic leader, and the resident. Our communities are better when they're all working together. And so that's what we're trying to do. I hope we can make that happen today.
Well, let's do that. What I'd like to do, let's go ahead and bring on our honored guest today. If we can, Nathan, our producer behind the scenes is Nathan Smith. Mr. Vilhauer, Mr. Hill, how are we doing today, gentlemen?
Doing well. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good. Rod,
can't hear you, Brian.
You can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm
I haven't
good.
been able to hear any of the opening.
Uh-oh.
Let me hit Nathan, if you would, send him a private chat and just tell him to reboot.
I can hear Mark. But
You can hear Mark. You can't hear us. You can't hear me either.
Yeah, Rod can't hear everybody. We were rocking and rolling before we came on screen here. Okay, well, while Rod gets his equipment lined up here and hopefully working, I just kind of wanted to frame the conversation that we're going to have today. And hopefully Rod can get online here. But basically, when we're talking about the mayor of Frisco, right, a lot of people hear mayor and they think, oh, the mayor runs the city. In the city of Frisco, that's not the case. In some cities, that's kind of true, but in the city of Frisco, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, heck, the mayor doesn't even really get a vote when it comes to city council unless there's a tie. So really the job of the mayor in the city of Frisco is to align and lead the city council, be an advocate for the residents, and essentially align the council along with what the residents' needs and wants are within the legalities of the state of Texas and within the city of Frisco. So just framing up the role of mayor in that context. Rod, can you hear us now?
I can now.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
I'm in.
Technology.
Well, what's funny, we say this for every show, right? What you see is what you get. We're a live show, we're live streamed. So what you see is what you get. Sometimes the curse will slip out here and there. I try not to do it too often. Sometimes we have technical difficulties, as we just saw, but I'm glad you were able to get it fixed. And we are rocking and rolling. So just framed up the role of mayor in the city of Frisco, Rod, if you hadn't gotten a chance to hear that. But so with that, what I'd like to do is really just before I do this, let me make sure that we're clear on the ground rules as far as response times, right? So I'm going to ask several questions. There's going to be various different themes. We're going to do an opening statement. We're going to talk about some civic culture issues, or not necessarily issues, but civic culture in general, business climate, and then we're going to have some open dialogue. Interspersed in there, we're going to have a couple breaks so we can all catch our breaths and make sure that our technology is still working. But
speaking of technology, Brian, I want to try that real quick and see if we can get that timer to work.
Okay, cool. So with that, we're going to each of you guys will have 2 minutes. Okay, cool. So that's set at 3 minutes, but they're going to get 2 minutes for each of their responses. So hopefully we get a 2-minute timer up there. And let's get this bad boy going just with a general, we'll call it an opening statement for lack of a better term, but really just tell us who you are and what inspired you to run for the office of mayor of Frisco. And we're going to start, we'll go around the horn clockwise on my screen. So Mark, that means you're up first. 2 minutes. Who are you and what inspired you to run?
Sure, Brian. And first, let me begin by thanking both you and Lendon and the BDA for giving Rod and I an opportunity to speak to everybody today. My name is Mark Hill. I chose to run for mayor because, like you mentioned, the current mayor was terming out, and I wanted to be a respectful voice for the change in this city. And I think as time has progressed through this campaign, I know my motivation was I wanted to be someone that brought some proven experience and some positive leadership to the race. And I believe I'm a measured, reasonable, and consistent voice in this race. And I think that's what the city needs right now. And when I say proven real-time experience, I've had the privilege to serve on the board of Frisco ISD for the last 3 years. I served as president of Frisco ISD for the last year. And it's been an amazing institution. And I tell people all the time, it's been the civic privilege of my life. There's been so many excellent things that district does. It represents this city so well. It's a magnet for growth and for families coming to the city. At the same time, I've had the privilege of serving on Frisco's Economic Development Corporation, or the EDC. And similarly, an excellent institution and part of the city. For the last 2 years, I've been one of the 7 directors on the EDC. The EDC has done terrific things for the city and helping it fund things and pay for things that this city enjoys, from public safety to infrastructure to everything else that we consider part of the quality of life of Frisco. And so those 2 things are instrumental in Frisco in 2026. And I think lend real-time experience to what will be impacting the city of Frisco in the years to come. The other thing is just a positive leader. I try to be very respectful and positive and professional in how I speak. And so I believe that's going to be important in the years to come in continuing the success that is Frisco. And so that's why I'm running for mayor.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Rod, you got 2 minutes. Tell us who you are and what inspired you to run for the mayor of Frisco.
Yes, sir. Rod Vilhauer, and I've lived in Frisco for 40 years. Have raised a family here. I've got 5 kids. I've got now 5 grandkids and another on the way. So, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I've owned business here, so I chose not to run. But really, when I went to the started with the school board meeting when they were talking about taking the 10 commandments out of our school. And as I was walking out, a lady grabbed me by the arm and said, "Hey, we need your help." And then multiple people started to call. So as I look at this city, I'm retired now from business, but I had the privilege of sitting on the P&Z back in the 90s. I also had the privilege of starting a business here. Barry Rich and I started the Rodman Companies, grew it to 370 million a year with 1,600 employees. So I know how to build a business. We were the largest taxpayer, the largest employer for about, I think, 8 or 9 years here. But the bottom line is I love this city. We do have challenges here. We need to bring respect back to our city chambers. And we have a great cultural mix here that someone has to unite. And I have been heavily involved with the Hindu people, Hindu Americans, and I believe we can do that. I'm a full staunch Texan, and we'll talk about where I stand on those issues later. But really, it's the love for Frisco, and I want to see this place built out responsibly. And let's deal with the issues or the challenges, I would say, that we have.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that from both of you. So those are our intros. What we're going to do is take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and we'll start diving into some of those issues that I outlined up front. The first one being community unity and civic culture. We're going to have about 8 minutes to address that. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The Community Difference, North Texas, is made possible by the Business Development Alliance and our premier sponsors, Choctaw Casino, Texas Edge Insurance, PGA of America, NAC Theater, Riker Home Services, Real Property Management Focus, One Digital, and by K9 Resorts, My Live, Love Travel, and Farmers Insurance, Best Buddies International, and No Sweat Experts. The Community Difference, North Texas, powered by the Business Development Alliance. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. So as I mentioned, we're going to have a couple questions here on this topic, community, unity, and civic culture. And what I'd like to do is ask 2 questions, and each candidate will get 2 minutes to answer those questions. First question, community unity. That's a nice rhyming words there, a couple of nice rhyming words. But as we know, unity has been lacking, or divisiveness and division has become a bit more prevalent over the last several years in the city of Frisco. So first question to you guys is, why does Frisco feel increasingly divided? And since I started with Mark on the last one, Rod, I'll start with you on this one.
Sure. I think, as being one of the Texans, the white guys, I don't know how else to say it, but I think the amount of folks that have moved in, and I've talked openly with the Hindu people, I think a lot of it is a shock factor. I think a lot of it is that we don't know what we don't know. As I've spent time with the Hindu community, we have so many shared values. I'm a Christian. I live by biblical worldview, I do believe, and every decision I make is based on that. But the bottom line is, we are to love everyone. God created us all in the same, in his image. We all bleed red. Pastor Keith says that your divine fingerprint, a book that he wrote, that all of us have the same fingerprint, or we'll never have the same fingerprint to leave an imprint on this earth. 99% of our DNA is the same. Only 1% is different. And that's what makes us all special. So really my vision for this city is, let's bring our 1%, everyone. I stand firm on the First Amendment. Anyone and everyone is welcome to the United States of America and to worship freely and be everything God created them to be. I do stand against Sharia, which stands against our Constitution, and I will never move on that position. To everyone else, every ethnicity, I don't care your color, I don't care your race, I don't care your financial situation. You have the right to be here and enjoy the American dream. So I am excited about uniting this city. A lot of the conservative people that I talk to, their word is assimilation. And with the Hindu American people I talk to, they say, we want to assimilate, so help us. So my plan is to put together a coalition of people from both sides. And I've talked to everyone, we're going to have some hard conversations. But I believe we can make Frisco a shining light to Texas, also to America and around the world. I want to say one thing. They talk about that diversity is the strength of America. It's not. It's our core values. The values of America is what makes it great and what is so inviting to all types of culture.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And to you, Mark, same question. Why does Frisco feel increasingly divided?
The first thing I would say is Frisco has been a shining light. It's not starting now. I mean, I've lived here for 20 years, and Frisco, at the end of the day, is a place where families and businesses come for opportunity. Always has been. And it's a welcoming community. And for the last 5, 10, 15 years, we've had a diverse community. We've had all these ethnicities and these religious bases in this city for years. If you look at the demographic changes of this city, we have been growing in that manner for well over a decade. And so the division that we see in this city, especially over the last 6 months, is correlated very highly to politics. I mean, the demographic makeup of this city has not changed in the last 3 to 6 months. It's been here for 5, 10, 15 years and been very welcoming and been very positive. And so I'm a big believer in our leadership being positive ambassadors for this city. I believe it resonates both to the community at large and to people outside this city. And so from day one, I have been very measured and very reasonable and consistent in how I speak. I am very careful and thoughtful about who I associate with on various programming. I think that matters. I think people see it. I do believe that the more that we as leaders inflame and cause this kind of rhetoric out there, others in our community and outside our community see it. Families see it. Businesses see it. Families and businesses looking to come here see it. And so, especially for a program like this and with the BDA that cares about small business, we have to be very focused as a city to make sure we continue to be, like we've been, by the way, for a decade or more, a welcoming community. The second we lose that is the second we, as a city, begin to struggle. And that's something that my Unite Frisco theme from day one has tried to do, and it's tried to do it in a very respectful way.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Can I?
And Lendon, did you say you want? Lendon, did you say you wanted to?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that real quick with Rod and Mark, because it is very noticeable, and it's not just Frisco. When you look across the nation, and you have what they call the fringes, right? You have the fringe right, fringe left, and everybody's got a voice and they want to be heard. What I would like to know, obviously, when I'm coming from a small business perspective, the better the environment and the community is, the more we're going to do, the better we're going to do, right? You worry sometimes about the large corporations or other businesses out there that's watching this infighting on social media, and they're wondering if that's the place they really want to bring their business. Is it worth the risk? So the big question that I have, and I don't have the answer to this, but I think it's something that needs to be in a conversation. When you start to have the bickering and the infighting and the back and forth between supporters and campaigns, whose responsibility is to tone that down? Is it, because I'm not saying you guys, it's you guys, because it's hard. You can't control what somebody you've never met says to someone else on a different campaign. But how will you lead, not only in the rest of the campaign, which is short, but moving forward, to tone down and set the example of how behavior should be in the community?
You want me to speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Rod.
Sure. Well, I think first of all, the division, and really a lot of these large companies are looking at this city because of the leadership that we've had, and their desire is not to come here, it's to go somewhere else because of the bickering. Our city hall, the trash that goes on in there, and everyone has the right to speak. and they can speak whatever they want to. But when we're in the city chambers, let's clean this place up and let's make that a place of respect. It is where our city does business. When these large companies watch our city hall meetings, it's like nobody can agree on anything. And the personal attacks, we got to stop that. And I know that we can. The other part of that is to bring this community together. You know, Mark says Unite Frisco. He's never said one word openly about how he's going to do it. I'm on record everywhere, and I'm approaching this wide open. And hey, have I made some comments that should have made? Yes. And will I make some mistakes? I'm sure I will. But my commitment is, and if you look at the Hindu community, Hindu Americans, they are strongly behind me, and they are. Our values are similar. They also bring great business. I mean, these guys are business owners. And I'm not talking about H-1B fraud. I'm talking about people that have been here 20, 30 years and have created great companies. If you look at the amount of taxes they pay, even nationwide, their 6.6% pays 15% of our taxes. So there's a lot of positives here, but we have to bring our community together. And when these great companies come, we've got to be in, somebody said the word harmony, but we have got to pull this place together, and let's create an environment where businesses want to come and do business with our city.
Okay, Mark, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Mr. Vilhauer brings up the city hall meeting, and the first point I would say is leadership starts at the top. The people inflaming the city council meeting last Tuesday were invited and brought to by Mr. Vilhauer's team. His social media manager was one of the most inflammatory speakers Tuesday evening. The person that he is on podcasts with, sitting side by side, saying terrible things about our neighbors, speaking for Mr. Vilhauer, his social media manager was the one. So the people invited there that come from outside Frisco,
Mark,
that caused
that is a total lie.
Okay.
Now this whole deal that you
hold on. We're not, fellas, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
No.
We're not going to go there.
I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm not going to sit here and listen to this guy lie about me. I'm not going to do it. Okay. He spread enough. It's out there every day, and he's trying to attach me to all these people. I've never talked to him. I don't know.
Rod, all I'm going to ask you, let's hold up. Okay. We've got there is a decorum and there's an environment that both of you are talking about that we're trying to help facilitate with the BDA. And right now it's not going that direction.
Correct.
So let's all cool down for a minute. Okay. Everybody's going to get a chance to talk. I don't think we should call anybody a liar on here, whether they are or whether they're not, because we're not setting the example we need to set for the people we're going to try to lead. And I'm asking you guys, as gentlemen and as men, let's focus on what we have to say. Let's not be disparaging. Let's not inflame. I can sit here and watch it in the comments. The minute either one of you says a certain thing, it just lights a fire. So let's calm down.
So
and let's address these things professionally. Okay. And let's give each person their opportunity to talk, because the next one's going to be right behind them. Thank you.
And as a reminder, we do have the final 10 to 15 minutes to address certain things that may or may not be factual, right? So let's hold off the rebuttals until we get to that stage. So I think Mark had a few, probably 20, 30 seconds to wrap up on that specific question.
Yes. And so if I can just finish my answer, the public can certainly go see the people that spoke at the city council and see who they are associated with. They can make their own decisions on that. My point is, you can't invite and have people at a city council meeting that do that for 3 or 4 hours and expect our city council to then deliberate over issues important to the city. It's not a good way to operate. Certainly, those people and a lot of those outsider influencers that want to go give speeches and inflame things are not associated with me and never have been. And the public can go look at that for themselves. And so I just think there's a better way to operate city council meetings, and there's a more positive way to do it as well.
Awesome. All right. So thank you for that, gentlemen. What I'd like to do is we're going to take another real quick commercial break. On the backside, we're going to carry that business topic, right? We talked about big businesses looking at Frisco as a potential opportunity for them. We'd like to focus on small business. So on the backside of the commercial break, we're going to dive into that.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
All right, welcome back. So one of the topics multiple people have touched on here is the large businesses, right? And we're all aware that bringing large corporations to the city of Frisco helps the taxpayer base in multiple different ways, right? So we're not going to dive as much into that, given that our audience and the Business Development Alliance was created to advocate and engage small to medium-sized business owners. So to that end, I've got one general question for both of you, and then I have one specific question for each candidate. This question is, and let's try to keep the answers as smart as possible. And by smart, I don't necessarily mean intelligent. I mean the acronym SMART, right? So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So the question is, again, in a small business frame of reference here, what does true small business advocacy look like to you? And let's see, Rod went first in the last one. So Mark, I'm going to give this one to you first.
Sure. I think small business advocacy looks like making sure as leadership in a city, you are maintaining a welcoming environment for all businesses to come. You do that in a lot of different ways, and I think this campaign is already seeing that. First things first, as you see for our campaign, we have been endorsed and supported by the mayors of Prosper, Salina, Little Elm, all of them, all of our neighbors. And why is that? They see the welcoming environment that they have, and they see what Frisco is going through right now, and they want to continue that. As long as we have a welcoming environment, Frisco businesses will continue to come here. And so as city leadership, we can control a lot of things. We can make sure we're efficient with local regulations, keeping our taxes low, making sure that we have a vision for this city. If you're a small business owner, you want to make sure you are doing things in this city that make small businesses and medium-sized businesses want to come here. What does that mean? You want to have a high quality of life. You want to have parks. You want to have good infrastructure. You want to have incentives for businesses that are bringing more employees here. You want to cultivate a talent base in this community that is growing. That is how you continue growing and keeping a small and medium-sized business growth environment here. It all begins and ends with keeping us a welcoming environment for small businesses and the families that comprise those businesses.
Thank you, sir. Rod, same question to you. What does true small business advocacy look like to you?
Yeah, I think first of all, our city, we need to get our city government together where everyone's pulling the wagon in the same direction. It's got to be friendly. They need to see when these large businesses come that we're organized and we are pro-development for the right businesses. I think too, as I talk to people out here, they're very concerned. A lot of their kids they're going through school, they're getting college degrees, and there's not jobs available, good paying jobs. So I think that's part of it too. When we look at what kind of business comes here, we can be picky. I mean, we're Frisco. I think we're highly desirable with our EDC that can help. I know that they're talking with hundreds of companies right now, but I think what's important is we need to ourselves have a plan. What kind of companies are we looking for? I think tech companies are going to be extremely important to our future. I think those are companies that are going to pay well. I think they'll be here for a long time. So the main thing is that we as city leadership, we need to have it together. We need to be organized when they get here, and let's not see division. Let's let them say, when they look at the people that are going to be working in these new businesses, when they look at our city and there is division, they hear the rhetoric. I think it's very damaging. So part of what we have to do is unify this city.
Got it. Thank you, sir. And I mentioned we're going to have one specific question for each of you on this small business topic. And we started with Mark last time. So Rod, we're going to come right back with you on this one. So at a recent forum, it was the Frisco Chamber of Commerce forum, a comment was made questioning whether a company with fewer than 14 employees should even be considered a business, quote unquote business. Many entrepreneurs and small business owners felt dismissed by that statement. What did you mean by that comment? And what message should leadership send to a small business owners representing and building businesses inside of Frisco?
Great question. So let me answer that comment first. When I was talking about that, what I was talking about is Mark has been in business for a year and a half. I don't know, maybe 2 years. He has 14 employees. When I talk about leadership, I actually built a business to 1,600, 1,800 employees, 370 million a year. What I'm talking about is his experience. Can he step into a leadership position and help run a city with a $360 million budget and 1,800 employees? I love small business. Let me clarify. Everything I've ever done in my life, every business is started out with 1 or 2 people. I have helped multiple people in this city start small businesses. I don't know how many left Rodman and started their own companies, but it was 10, 15, or 20. I'll give you an example of one, Superscapes, which is probably the best landscape company in North Texas. I helped Sean Clayton start when he was 22 years old. So I have mentored, even in my consulting business, I help young men and women, if they so desire, start small businesses. So I totally support. To me, small businesses are the strength of every community. So if there's any misconception, I'll make it very clear. I think the DBA is a wonderful organization, and I think I would love to help as mayor support in any way I can. Tie them together. I met with the leader of the SBA, Dr. Trey, and the government right now under Trump, they are putting out all types of opportunities, 90% guaranteed by the federal government. So I'm all about, let's bring the SBA to town. He would come sit with the city. How can the city help young business owners find these opportunities? So I'm all about it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mark, question for you. Some residents believe your campaign represents continuity with existing political and business power structures in Frisco. What would you say to residents concerned about insider influence, donor access, or good old boy politics?
Well, the first thing I would say is if I am associated with the success of this city that Mr. Vilhauer just referenced, then I think that's a good thing. I'm very proud to have been serving on the EDC over the last few years that was just mentioned. And guess what? We bring in tech companies right now. We bring in financial companies right now. We bring in healthcare companies right now. We bring in an initiative right now that's bringing in venture capitalists and entrepreneurial companies into the city right now. It has proven to be immensely successful to this city. So yes, I have the real-time experience right now. That's exactly what I've been doing over the last 2 or 3 years. I've been serving this city both from an education standpoint and a business standpoint for the last 2 to 3 years. And throughout that entire time, this city's been incredibly successful. And I intend to try to keep it that way. And I think, me having and owning a small business is also one of the motivations for why I ran in this race. I believe the mayor of this city should be someone that's reflective of the vast majority of this city. I'm a parent of a current student in Frisco schools, and I'm a current local business owner. I think that matters in this race. It makes me very vested in the future success of this city. And so I have had the good fortune of only being in politics for a few years. And so my life has been one of where I try to build relationships. And I've been successful at that in getting to know, for example, Mayor Mike Simpson, who was one of the first supporters of mine, and a lot of the leadership in this city, and a lot of the leaders that have done a lot of good for this city. And so I don't try to run for that. I care about that. I think some continuity of that success is good, while at the same time, like I said at the very beginning of this forum, turning the page in a very respectful way. And that's what I intend to do.
Got it. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, let's move on to the next topic, and that is the quote unquote difficult community concerns. There's quite a few that I've got on my list here. We don't have time for but only a sliver of them. I'm going to have one question specific to each candidate, and then I'm going to have 2 questions that I'd like both of you guys to answer if you would. First question, let's see, I think we started with Rod last time. So Mark, we're going to circle back around to you. So the first question will be to you. Some residents have expressed concern regarding campaign donations and alleged affiliations connected to individuals associated with extremist narratives. How do you address those concerns, and how should leaders responsibly navigate situations where fear, perception, and public trust become politically charged?
Yeah, I mean, I think fear has been infused into this campaign, and I do everything I can to speak in a very positive and unifying way from day one. I have over, 100 contributions, and most of them are from Frisco. Some of them are from family and friends in San Antonio, where I'm from, and from other parts of North Texas. I want to make it clear. I mean, from day one, I have been very intentional about seeking support from everyone in the Frisco community. Doesn't matter what ethnicity, what religion, what political demographic you come from. I have been very intentional about that. It's been by design. Our campaign is being heavily outspent. And I think my contributions, if you go look at the reports, are representative of the city. I'll just give you a quick example. We are, as a community, 1/3 Hindu, right? We have minorities. It's a significant part of our community. My contribution report, by design and by my effort from day one, is reflective of that. How in the world my opponent has 0 Hindu contributions as of the last report through I don't know how many months of this campaign is incredible. I mean, how are you being representative and reflective of the community you seek to serve? I don't even know that's even possible. And so I'm very proud to have a very diverse, ethnically and religiously and community-based support. I don't view that in a negative. I think candidates that run for office in the city of Frisco should have that. And that's exactly what I've done.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Question for you, Rod. Some residents feel rhetoric surrounding demographic and religious concerns has intensified division and fear within the community. How do you address legitimate resident concerns without creating environments driven by hostility, suspicion, or tribal division?
Okay, so I'm going to say this for, I don't know, the 20th time, but let me try to make this very clear. I am not against any minority. I'm not against any person. I'm not against the majority. I invite all. And I have said the First Amendment is what makes this country so great, the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. And I invite anyone here in Frisco, in Texas, to the United States of America to enjoy that freedom. So I don't care who you are, even the Muslim people. And let me make it very clear. I invite any Muslim is welcome here. We've got them in our church. I've got some that are friends of mine. And they are welcome to worship any way they want to. Again, everyone and anyone, any race, any religion. But if you are governed by Sharia law or Sharia, I take a total stand against it. And I think if anyone did 10 minutes of homework, they would understand why. Mark has never spoke openly about any of it. But I'm telling you, if you look at where his, a lot of his money comes from, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I am not prejudiced. I am not racist. I've got friends from anywhere and everywhere. So I support this city, and it's in the freedoms that we provide people. And I stand behind the First Amendment 100%. Only Sharia. That's it. That's the only thing I stand against. I am for all of it.
All right. Got it. Thank you, sir. And with that, we're going to take a commercial break, our final one of the show, and we're going to come back, and I've got 2 more questions on the hot topics, if you will. So with that, stick around for that, and we will be right back.
Welcome to the Community Difference, North Texas, powered by the Business Development Alliance, where we're changing the dynamic that has too many business owners feeling like they're working for their government instead of the other way around. Every first Wednesday at 11:30 a.m., host Brian Poduska and co-host Lendon Wilson bring you the mayors, council members, and officials making decisions that affect your business, so you can meet them, understand the issues, and engage before those decisions get made. In today's episode, you'll discover why business owner turnout stays so low in local elections, and what that silence is costing you in policy decisions you never see coming.
All right, we're back. So, like I said, I've got 2 more questions each, and so this is a question for each of you, and I'd like each of you to answer. First one, how should leaders responsibly address emotionally charged public concerns while still protecting fairness, trust, and community unity? And I forget who, I think I started with Mark in the last one. So Rod, back to you.
Sure. So we can address this here, but all these folks that Mark's saying that I'm supporting, this guy Zane or Lane or whatever his name is, none of those folks. I don't support any of that. Now, we have First Amendment, freedom of speech. Anyone can come say what they want to, but it's got to be done in some type of a respectful way. A lot of the guys that are in here protesting and almost they're radical, there's some of the things they say that, hey, I agree with them. But, my grandfather taught me a long time ago, he said, you can tell your wife that her face would make time stand still, or you can tell her face would stop a clock. The way you've done it makes a big difference. And the way the message is being presented is they're attacking people personally. This guy that's got that's coming on Tuesday, rally against rednecks. This guy, last name is Muhammad, right? This guy supports Mark. This guy this morning, DFW Islamic Brothers, after I put out the endorsement by the Hindus, he goes, thank you for sharing endorsement from the Hindus. Vote for Mark. He is our brother and supporter. Inshallah, he will win. Peace be upon you. Now, what kind of messages? I don't support anybody that believes in that. And I've never supported anyone coming into our chambers and tearing people down. I'm just not going to do it. When I talk about cleaning that up, that's what we have to clean up. Our public time for people to speak is there for anyone that has questions, and they can complain about whatever they want to or disagree with whatever they want to. But when they come and attack people personally, I'm out. That has got to stop. I just asked the question, would President Trump allow that in a press release, or where he's got all the press sitting in front of him? No, he would have that person removed. And I'm just telling you, either they come with respect and respect our office, or they need to stand outside, or they can get on social media and say whatever they want to say. But that's the part that I am not in agreement with. And I don't support anyone, and have never hired anyone to come say anything of that type in our city meetings. And if you're talking about Kaylee, when Kaylee came, I think she presented the situation pretty well.
Okay, thank you.
Can you? I want to follow that up.
Okay.
Can we all understand, though, that sometimes when we're having conversations, and I mean, just like what we're doing now, I mean, if I leave tomorrow and I go out and start some controversy, you're going to be tied to Lendon Wilson created controversy because he was on Lendon Wilson's podcast, right? Do we have to have some discernment on how we're interacting with other people and what their agendas are, and how that's going to impact the opposition side with the fuel that it's going to give the opposition side, but also what it allows other people to say about me if I'm that candidate. And look, again, I'm not trying to put you guys in impossible situations. Sometimes we don't know who we're talking to till after we talk to them and we turn around and see what's going on. But there is a lot of rhetoric out there coming from outside, and I think that we need to vocally. I think it's best for us if we can vocally say, you know what, I don't support that or those people if that's what they're going to be doing.
Totally agree. There's 245,000 people in this city. Somebody's not going to like me or like Mark. And they have the freedom to say whatever. I'm just talking about in our city chambers. It's a place of honor and respect. Let's chill it out there, man. If you want to go outside, I tell people, call me anything, just don't call me late for supper. I'm unoffendable. Am I passionate? Yep. And you saw a little bit of that passion earlier, but it's America. Say what you want to. Just respect our government, our city government. That is our place of business, right? It's a place of honor and respect. So that's my take on that.
Okay, let's give Mark the same opportunity here on the same question. How should leaders responsibly address emotionally charged public concerns while still protecting fairness, trust, and community unity?
And I appreciate the opportunity to answer. I don't know most of the names Mr. Vilhauer mentioned. I do recognize Kaylee. And Kaylee is the individual that he has been on podcasts with and reshared her content of. And the last 3 words in her tweet or her message before the city council meeting were in all caps, give them hell. How does that invite decorum to council? What do you expect to happen when your supporter is doing that? I mean, we have a city council made up of volunteers that are trying to do the best for this city. And then when you have that kind of inflammatory language days leading up to a city council meeting, I don't care what the reason is. I don't care what's on the agenda. And then you have people like them and others from outside come and receive that and accept that and go, and then spend, 4 hours about all kinds of issues that aren't even agenda issues. And then you expect our city council leaders, volunteers, civic servants at 11:30 p.m. to deliberate and decide on important things in this city. That's a terrible practice, and that all begins at the top. Leadership begins at the top. That kind of rhetoric is not helpful, and it's harmful, and it impairs the city council from being able to act in an intelligent way for our residents, period.
So let me ask this question as a follow-up for both of you. I mean, we both of you have stated what we all see and what we all know and what we all understand, what's wrong, what the problem is. And I'm sitting here looking at these comments, and I don't know, we probably made it. I don't know if we should have scrolled them today or not, but very interesting. People can go back and read them later. Everybody's got their eye focused. I mean, they've got the bullseye on the problem, but I'm not seeing any answers. I'm not seeing any answers whatsoever. What is the answer to bringing back dignity and respect and honoring the institution, whether you do not like the panel, the council, the board, the mayor, whatever? How do we get that back under control so that we act like adults rather than a bunch of adolescents.
You want me to speak?
Either one of you.
So, and maybe it's, I don't know, too passionate, but somebody, the leader or our city as a whole, has got to take a stand, and they got to stop that in our city council chambers, and whatever that takes. I don't know. Is it an ordinance? Is it a law? Is it what? But people cannot come to us. So I've said, as mayor, if I have to, I may go to jail, but I'll drag him out. Somebody has to stop the nonsense that's going on and create an environment where our city chambers function the way they were supposed to. You know, Dwight D. Eisenhower said in the 50s, you cannot allow someone to come to America and use the Constitution to destroy the Constitution. That's what's happening under our First Amendment in a lot of places. It's the same way. Our public speaking time is there for the public to come speak about concerns, ask questions, understand, and that's what it's supposed to be used for. And as mayor, I'm going to do whatever I have to do, and I know we can make that place a place of honor again.
Mark?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar question, and I'm not looking at all the different comments. I see a couple of them. It looks like actually the same people that showed up Tuesday evening that we're talking about, and that Mr. Vilhauer is referencing, that are creating havoc on our city council. And so there is no doubt that much of this outside influence is interfering with the daily business of this city. Every time I get an opportunity to speak about things that matter to this city, how do we work on a sustainable budget? How do we work on improving public safety in the city? How do we make sure we're doing disciplined development to generate enough funds in the city to keep taxes low and to potentially lower taxes? These are things that my experience is in right now. And these are the things that I'm going to make sure when I'm mayor are on our agenda and that we're focusing on the agenda. There is no doubt people from residents and outside the city of Frisco have the ability to come to our council meetings and be critical of its leadership. It's perfectly fine. Critical of matters of city concern. That is something that we deal with, and I've dealt with professionally on the school board for years. And so there's nothing wrong with that. What we need to have is stop inviting and stop creating the rhetoric that is causing a hostile environment at these city hall meetings. I think that'll make for a much healthier city.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I did have multiple other questions here, kind of along those same lines. However, as I anticipated, we were going to run out of time on these. So we only had an hour of airtime here. So what I'd like to do, number one, I want to thank you guys again for spending your time with us, spending your time with our audience. We know your calendar is extremely busy right now, so we greatly appreciate it. So thank you from the Business Development Alliance. Thank you for putting yourselves out there. This is a monumental task, job, etc., and it gets paid peanuts, right? It's basically a volunteer job. So thank you both for sticking your necks out there and doing this for the community.
Yeah.
That being said, I wanted to offer you guys each a minute and 30 seconds as a final statement. The question or prompt is, what kind of Frisco do you hope exists because of the leadership decisions made today? And Rod, we'll start with you.
Okay. My grandfather taught us on the farm. We're 7 generations, and he taught us always, every generation, our job is to leave it better than we found it. And that's exactly what I want to do for Frisco. We have so much potential here. It is one of the greatest cities in America, and let's go to work, and we can unite this city. And Mark, I just challenge you to take a stand openly and speak to some of these issues. Answer the questions that are being asked. And anyway, I'll close with that.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Brian and Lendon and the BDA for hosting. I think these kind of dialogues are important for the public to hear directly from the candidates running for this office, for their knowledge of the city, for their experience of the city, and for the rhetoric that they speak. I want to make clear to everyone, and you can go back to day one of my campaign. I am very measured, consistent, and reasonable in how I speak. I believe that is supremely important in our leadership. I do not need to go on apology tours. I don't have anything to apologize for in what I've said about any part of our community ever. And they know that. Similarly, when we are out meeting with the community, we as candidates are adults. We have the ability to decide who we want to associate with, what podcasts, what shows we want to go on, and how that impacts our community. What kind of environment are we creating for the city? I believe in being a very positive leader. As long as I will be the mayor of Frisco, I will be a positive ambassador for the city, just like I've been a positive ambassador for Frisco ISD and on the Frisco EDC. That doesn't mean Mark Hill agrees with everything. But that does mean that if we're going to be critical, we're going to be constructively critical, and we're going to find solutions for problems, and we're going to get the work done the city needs. And so I just want to bring a respectful change. My name is Mark Hill, and I would appreciate your vote.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Once again, appreciate you guys coming on today.
Yes, thank you.
Message to the general public. Early voting starts June 1st. It ends June 9th. Get out there and early vote. It's the easiest way to do it. If you don't get out there and early vote, the actual election is on June 13th. Look up your polling locations. Most importantly, get out there and vote, please. Historically, the attendance and participation has been very, very low, especially in runoff elections. This is a very pivotal one. It's been 9 years since we've had a new mayor, so please get out there and vote. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of information to do so. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening today, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The Community Difference, North Texas, is made possible by the Business Development Alliance and our premier sponsors, Choctaw Casino, Texas Edge Insurance, PGA of America, NAC Theater, Riker Home Services, Real Property Management Focus, One Digital, and by K9 Resorts, My Live, Love Travel, and Farmers Insurance, Best Buddies International, and No Sweat Experts. The Community Difference, North Texas, powered by the Business Development Alliance. Together, we can make the difference.